The human element. Captain Zarvex stared at the docking bay with all four of his eyes narrowed in apprehension. His scaled skin rippled with anxiety, chromatophores flashing subtle warnings that his crew wisely pretended not to notice. The small transport shuttle approaching his ship carried something he both needed and dreaded: a human. "Captain, the Terran Specialist shuttle will dock in approximately 3 minutes," announced First Officer Telix, her exoskeleton clicking softly as she approached the command platform. Zarvex's secondary breathing sacs inflated briefly before he responded. "Has the human's quarters been prepared according to Galactic Council regulations?" "Yes, Captain. Atmosphere composition, gravity adjustments, and nutritional synthesizers have all been calibrated to Terran specifications." Telix paused, mandibles twitching slightly. "Though I still question the necessity of bringing one aboard." The captain turned all four eyes toward his first officer. The Galactic Council was quite clear. For missions into the Nexus Veil, each vessel must have at least one human specialist. No exceptions, even after what happened to the Celestial Voyager. Telix's antennae flattened against her head, the equivalent of a raised eyebrow among her species. Zarvex suppressed a shudder. Everyone in the galaxy had heard about the Celestial Voyager. What had begun as a routine exploration had ended with the ship returning with half its crew traumatized, and the human specialist hailed as both hero and harbinger. The vessel itself had been reconfigured in ways that still baffled the finest engineers in the Galactic Council. "Especially after what happened to the Celestial Voyager," Zarvex replied quietly. "The Council believes that incident proved their theory. Humans see possibilities where we see only chaos." The docking bay alerts chimed, indicating the shuttle had successfully attached to the Stellar Seeker. Zarvex straightened his command mantle and beckoned to his senior officers. "Let's greet our new asset." The airlock cycled open with a soft hiss. Standing before them was a small figure, barely reaching the chest plates of most of the alien crew. The human female was darker skinned than Zarvex had expected, with short black hair framing a face that bore an expression he couldn't quite interpret. Was it confidence? Amusement? Aggression? Human facial nuances remained frustratingly illegible to most galactic species. "Maya Chen, engineering specialist, Earth Cooperative," she announced, offering a hand in the human greeting gesture. "Permission to come aboard, Captain." Zarvex ignored the outstretched hand, as physical contact with humans was strictly advised against in the council briefings. Not because of contamination, but because of the unsettling effect it had on non-human nervous systems. "Permission granted. I am Captain Zarvex. This is First Officer Telix and Chief Engineer Corvin." The human retracted her hand without offense, seemingly accustomed to the rejection. "Thank you for having me. I've reviewed the specs of your ship. Impressive quantum field generators. Torsion class, if I'm not mistaken." Chief Engineer Corvin's crystalline form shimmered with surprise. "You are familiar with Selenian propulsion technology." "I've worked on 3 different propulsion systems," Maya replied with a casual shrug that made the aliens subtly recoil. The human body's loose, fluid movements always appeared unnervingly unpredictable to species with more rigid anatomical structures. "Your system is elegant, though I noticed you're running the field harmonics slightly above optimal resonance." Corvin's crystalline structure darkened, the equivalent of a flush of embarrassment or anger. "The harmonics are precisely calibrated too." "Show Specialist Chin to her quarters," Zarvex interrupted. "We'll be entering the Nexus Veil in 26 hours. I expect you fully briefed and ready for consultation by then." Maya nodded, hefting her single duffel bag. "Of course, Captain. Though I should mention that I've made a few observations about your sensor array that might be relevant before we enter the Veil." The alien officers exchanged glances. The human had been aboard less than 5 minutes and was already suggesting modifications to their systems. "I'll review your suggestions after you've settled in," Zarvex said firmly. "Telix will escort you to your quarters." As they walked away, Corvin's crystalline body emitted a low-frequency vibration that only Zarvex could hear. 27 voyages without incident, Captain. 27. And now we bring aboard a human. Zarvex couldn't argue. The data was irrefutable. Ships with humans aboard had higher rates of unexpected incidents, equipment modifications, protocol violations, and resource consumption. They also had significantly higher survival rates in crisis situations and made more scientific discoveries. The Galactic Council's conclusion was simply, chaos creates opportunity. But Zarvex had always preferred order to opportunity. Hours later, the captain found himself reviewing Maya Chen's personnel file for the 7th time. Her credentials were impressive. Quantum engineering from Earth's Massachusetts Institute of Technology, field experience on 3 different alien vessels, and specialization in anomalous space phenomena. But what caught his attention was the incident report from her last assignment, the hegemony vessel, unwavering logic. During an ion storm, when the ship's shields had failed, Maya had reportedly rerouted power through the waste reclamation system, bypassed 4 critical safety protocols, and manually adjusted the shield harmonics while exposed to dangerous levels of radiation. The report noted that her actions saved the ship but violated 17 different safety regulations. The hegemony captain had simultaneously recommended her for their highest honor and requested she never be assigned to his vessel again. A notification flashed on Zarvex's display. Maya Chen was requesting access to engineering. With a sigh that rustled his gill plates, he granted permission and decided to observe. In engineering, Maya stood before a holographic display of the ship's sensor array, gesturing animatedly while Chief Engineer Corvin's crystalline form pulsed with increasingly agitated colors, simply widening the quantum reception band. Maya was saying as Zarvex approached, "The veil distorts standard detection methods, but if we retune to capture the subspace echoes, what you're suggesting would require disabling the calibration locks." Corvin interrupted, his voice resonating with harmonic distress. "Those safety measures exist for a reason." Maya turned as she noticed the captain's approach. "Captain, I was just explaining that your current sensor configuration won't detect the phase shifts common in the Nexus veil. We'd be essentially flying blind." "And I was explaining." Corvin's crystalline structure intensified to a nearly painful brightness, that removing those safeguards could overload the entire sensor grid and leave us permanently blind. Zarvex studied the human. Unlike his engineer, whose distress was literally visible through his transparent body, Maya showed no obvious signs of frustration, at least none that the captain could interpret. "What exactly are you proposing?" Zarvex asked cautiously. "A temporary modification," Maya replied, manipulating the holographic display. "We create a secondary processing buffer here, route the excess data through these auxiliary systems, and essentially give the sensors a wider peripheral vision to catch the quantum fluctuations the veil creates." The captain examined the proposed changes. "And this has worked before." "On the Celestial Voyager, yes," Maya said quietly. The room temperature seemed to drop several degrees. Even mentioning that vessel created tension. "That was your ship?" Zarvex asked, suddenly understanding why her name had seemed familiar. "I was their human specialist, yes." Maya's expression became unreadable again. "What happened there is precisely why I'm trying to upgrade your sensors. We didn't see the anomaly until we were inside it." Captain Zarvex faced a decision that epitomized his relationship with humanity. Follow established protocols or embrace the chaos this human offered. Before he could respond, the ship lurched violently. "Captain to bridge." His first officer's voice came through the communication system. "We're encountering gravitational distortions. Sensors didn't detect anything until we were upon them." Maya gave the captain a look that needed no translation across species. The human had been right. "Implement her modifications," Zarvex ordered Corvin, who pulsed with alarm but began working immediately. Within minutes, the sensor displays transformed, showing swirling patterns of energy that had been invisible before. What had appeared as empty space was revealed as a complex web of gravitational eddies and radiation pockets. "This is..." Corvin's voice vibrated with reluctant admiration. Unprecedented clarity. The ship shuddered again as another gravitational wave hit them. Zarvex watched as Maya pushed past Corvin and began adjusting the shield harmonics without permission. "What are you doing?" he demanded. "Your shields are configured for uniform pressure. These waves are oscillating. We need to match the rhythm, or we'll tear apart at the seams." Her fingers danced across controls that, technically, she shouldn't even have access to. Zarvex opened his mouth to object, but the next gravitational wave hit with noticeably less impact. The human's adjustments were working. "How did you know to do that?" Corvin asked, his crystalline form now pulsing with curiosity rather than alarm. Maya didn't look up from the controls. Instinct, pattern recognition, call it human intuition. And that was precisely what terrified most alien species about humans. They didn't just follow logical processes. They leaped to conclusions, acted on hunches, and somehow, impossibly, were often right. For the next hour, the stellar seeker navigated through the gravitational maze, with Maya constantly adjusting the shields, occasionally muttering calculations to herself that made little sense to the aliens around her. Just when it seemed they had cleared the danger, warning alarms blared throughout the ship. "Massive energy surge detected ahead," reported Telex from the bridge. "Configuration unknown. It's blocking our path and expanding rapidly." Zarvex hurried to the bridge with Maya following close behind. The main view screen displayed what looked like a tear in space itself, pulsing with colors that hurt to look at directly. "It's similar to what we encountered on the Voyager," Maya said quietly, studying the phenomenon with an intensity that made several crew members edge away from her. "But the energy signature is different, more unstable. Can we go around it?" Zarvex asked. Telex manipulated the navigation controls. "Not without backtracking 3 days, Captain, and the anomaly is expanding faster than we can retreat." Maya stepped forward, her eyes never leaving the screen. "Captain, I have an idea, but you're not going to like it." Zarvex felt his chromatophores flashing warning patterns involuntarily. The most dangerous phrase any human could utter. "I have an idea." "What are you suggesting?" he asked, already dreading the answer. "We need to go through it," Maya said simply. The bridge erupted in protests, with voices overlapping in various harmonic ranges of distress. "Silence," Zarvex commanded. "Explain your reasoning, Specialist Chen." Maya pointed to the sensor readings. The anomaly is essentially a bubble of space-time expanding outward. But look at the quantum signature. It's hollow at the center. If we calibrate the shields to match the outer membrane's resonance frequency and accelerate directly toward the core, we should pass through like a needle through a soap bubble. "Should" being the operative word, Telex noted, her exoskeleton clicking rapidly in distress. "It's either that or be crushed as the anomaly continues expanding," Maya countered. "The physics is sound, even if it seems counterintuitive." Captain Zarvex studied the human. This was exactly why the Galactic Council insisted on having humans aboard. Their minds worked differently. They saw possibilities where others saw only danger. They embraced risk where others sought certainty. "Make the necessary modifications," he ordered, causing a ripple of shocked reactions among his crew. "Specialist Chen will coordinate with engineering." As Maya hurried back to engineering with an alarmed Corvin, Telex approached the captain. "Sir, with respect, are you certain? Trusting our survival to human intuition." Zarvex watched the expanding anomaly on the screen. "The Council sends humans with us, not because they're logical, First Officer, but precisely because they are not. When facing the unknown, sometimes the rational choice is to embrace irrationality." Within 20 minutes, Maya had reconfigured the shields, modified the propulsion system, and prepared the ship for what she casually described as punching through reality. Each step violated safety protocols that had been established over centuries of space travel. "Ready, Captain," Maya reported from engineering. "We'll need maximum acceleration precisely when I say." The bridge crew took their positions, tension visible in every alien form. Captain Zarvex gave the order to proceed. The stellar seeker accelerated toward the swirling anomaly, its modified shields humming with frequencies that made the ship's structure vibrate uncomfortably. As they approached the boundary, Maya's voice came through clearly. "Now, Captain." Full power. The ship surged forward, directly into the heart of the phenomenon. For 3 terrifying seconds, reality seemed to bend around them. Colors inverted, gravity fluctuated, and every crew member felt their consciousness stretching in impossible directions. Then, with a sensation like breaking through ice, they were through, emerging on the other side with all systems functioning. Cheers and their various alien equivalents erupted across the ship. On the engineering deck, Maya slumped against a console, exhausted but smiling. Captain Zarvex allowed himself a moment of relief before addressing his first officer. "Status report. All systems operational, Captain," Telix reported, her antennae quivering slightly from the experience. "Those sensors are detecting something unusual ahead." The view screen shifted to show an expansive field of debris, the remains of what appeared to be several vessels caught in the anomaly before them. "And we've received a distress signal," Telix added. "Faint, but definitely coming from within the debris field." Zarvex felt his chromatophores darkening with concern. They had survived one crisis only to face another potentially more dangerous situation. And based on the excited expression he could see on Maya's face as she entered the bridge, their human specialist already had ideas about how to proceed. "Captain," Maya said, her eyes gleaming with the uniquely human combination of fear and fascination that alien species found so disturbing, "I think someone's alive out there. And I think I know how we can save them." Zarvex sighed, his gill plates fluttering. This was going to be another long day with their human aboard. Retriclaude can make mistakes. Please double-check responses.